Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority Board of Directors meeting. It's Monday, April 14th, 2025 at 4 o'clock. And we're in the Carson City Community Center Robert Bob Kroll Boardroom. With that, Casey, can I get a roll? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, roll call. Got lost on my first item.
Mike Jones,
Here.
Andrew Reno,
Here.
and Damon Both.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If I could ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. With that, I'll ask for any public comment at this time. Seeing none,
Mike,
we'll move on.
I would just like to introduce Casey Saldana as our
Oh,
new administrative
I'm sorry.
assistant. So I just wanted to say hi to Casey and introduce her to everybody, even though she's already met everybody.
I forgot about you.
Welcome,
Make public
Casey.
Comment also. Yeah, welcome, Casey. It's glad to have you. Welcome, Todd. It's glad to have you also.
Thank you.
So with no public comment, we'll move on to item 5, approval of minutes of the March 10th, 2025 CTA board meeting. If I could get any director, board member have any changes or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That moves us on to the next item, the consent agenda. Would any member of the public like any individual item pulled for individual discussion on the consent agenda?
Thank you, Chair. Denny French, Carson City, Nevada.
Is this regarding the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I just would like to have a title and a short brief on each of the three that are on the consent.
I'm sorry,
agenda.
could you speak up, Mr. French?
Yes. Because people don't get a chance to hear what those three things that you are not discussing tonight, it, to me, helps me have you at least give them a title and address them by, this is what's on the consent agenda. Are there any talk about that? I don't have anything about any of those on the consent deal, but I just think when I go to a meeting and they don't at least give a title to those, that they're not, that they're not going to be on the regular agenda, it helps me as a public person just to have you say, okay, any discussion on and say what they are. I know it sounds funny, but each of them has a title, and on the consent agenda, all possible action on CTA statements, or possible action on fiscal year. Just that I could actually just mention them and then you wouldn't have to.
Is there a specific one you?
Well, just that they are stated as having been on the consent, because consent agendas don't always get the interest and observation and even a recognition, is what I'm saying. I just,
You basically want us to recognize the title of it?
yes,
Okay.
that just seems to help me. And
Discussion and possible action, like you just want each item called out separately?
especially if there's only a few, yes, because then the rest of your agenda goes on to talking in detail about budget and several other things. So just to recognize the difference, because to me, the budget is budget, so it was confusing.
Okay. Does he want to know what the consent agenda comprises of?
Yeah, Chris, maybe Chris, if you just want to go
Right.
ahead and do both of the consent agenda items. And Denny, just for the record, there's just 2 on the consent. Yep, yeah, it's just 6 and 7.
6
Yes.
and 7?
Yeah, and Chris will just walk through both.
Thank you.
So for the consent agenda item number 6, that is the statements of accounts payable checks and P cards that were paid in February. And for number 7 is the CTA fiscal year 25 budget report. So that's telling you where the budget is at as of February. The other budget that we're
Yeah.
going to talk about in item 9 is for fiscal 26. This one's for fiscal 25. You're welcome.
Thanks, Chris. Any other from the public? Would any member of the board like an individual item pulled? If I can get a motion
Motion?
to present the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to present the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That'll take us to item 9.
Mr. Chair, just real quick, this is Todd Reese. Just for clarification, the motion was to approve both of the consent agenda items. Was that correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Action on item 9, possible action, discussion, possible action or direction to staff regarding the proposed CTA fiscal year 2026 tentative budget. I think you're going to go through the highlights, Chris. I know I want to thank the staff, Chris, David, and the staff. I know a lot of work went into this. Very comprehensive, and I think a very reasonable and objective budget. So I'll let you go, Chris.
Thank you. Chris Kipp for the record. This is our tentative budget for fiscal 26. And we've already submitted this to the Department of Taxation. So this is an opportunity for you guys to make any changes to the budget prior to us bringing it to the budget hearing, which will be held Monday, May 19th at 3:30 p.m. So if we go to page 2 of 14, this is just our cover sheet for the tentative budget. We have this budget contains 3 governmental funds with an estimated expenditure of $3,678,344. So I'm going to just do a super high level overview, and then if you have any questions, just jump in and ask me. So on page 7 of 14, which will be page 6 of the budget document, Schedule B. This breaks down the revenue for our general fund. The column 1 is the actual audited year end for June 30th of fiscal year 24. Page 7 of 14. And then column 2 is where we're projecting this fiscal 25 to finish. And then column 3 is our projection for the end of fiscal 26. David's projected a 2.83% increase in lodging tax revenue. And then our internal government revenue, it's a bit bigger than normal because we have a $316,000 left in the Travel Nevada funds for the 3D cultural corridor. We received that grant last year or this fiscal year for $630,000. We're budgeting spending half in each of those fiscal years. So that's pretty much it for the revenue side. And then if you go to page 8 of 14, this page breaks down the expenditures by function. Okay, so let's see. These functions are broken out into general government, culture and rec, and interlocal agreement. And then each bucket's broken out: salary and wages, benefits, and services and supplies. So for this year, we have included a 1% COLA for the entire team for to offset a PERS increase that will happen on July 11th, I believe, this year. So PERS's contribution rates are going from 33.5% to 36.75%. And per the NRS 286421, we're required to split the cost increase with the employees. So we'd just like to give them a 1% COLA to help offset the difference. And then there's an increase in the benefits due to the PERS change. Workers' comp and group insurance rates have all gone up. And then we have some increases in the services and supplies since last year. A lot of it will go to the 3D grant expenses. That is we don't have to match that one. We're just gonna, whatever we get in, we're gonna spend and be done with that. And then we have some matching grant expenses for additional co-op opportunities, some more marketing opportunities, which Lydia will tell us all about in the next meeting. And then we have a few new event sponsorships and new event development opportunities that we've included in this budget. Any questions for the general fund? Okay, then we will go to the next page, page 10 of 14, which is budget, page 9 of the budget, the Schedule B14. This is breaking down the revenues for the V&T capital projects. This is one of the 2% that we have. It also reflects a projected 2.83% increase for lodging tax revenue, and then the transfer out to the general fund for marketing that we do each year. And that's pretty much it for that one. And then on page 11 of 14, this one is the same thing, only it's for the capital projects fund. And this also reflects the projected 2.83 increase for lodging tax, and it has the full bond payment and interest payment for fiscal year 26 for the Centennial Park improvements. And then my last one that we'll look at is on page 13 of 14. This is just a listing of the remaining contracts that we will have that will affect fiscal 26. We have the contract with Casey Nealon for the audit. We have KPS3 will continue. And then the Estepona Group, which will be covering some 3D cultural corridor web development and in-web app work. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Chris from the board concerning fiscal 26 budget?
All right.
If not, I'll make a motion. I am moved to approve the proposed CTA fiscal year 2026 tentative budget as discussed.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. With that, we'll move on to 10, item 10, monthly non-action items, executive director's update. David?
Thank you, Chair Jones. For the record, David Peterson, Executive Director with Visit Carson City. I would echo your sentiments. Huge thanks to Chris and the team, Lydia, Eric, and Stu, really put together, I think, a very thoughtful budget, respective programs for fiscal 26. It's aggressive, but I think it's the right thing to do. I know there's a lot going on out there in the world, as we all know, politically, economically, the whole 9 yards, but we are going to stay laser focused and on top of people's, decision making as far as a destination, I do believe. So some really cool new things to come for fiscal 26. So hats off to the team for their great work putting this budget together, and for Chris for wrapping it all up. So many thanks. With that, we'll move on to 10A, Executive Director Update. I just have a couple of quick items. Outreach on the new room tax policies, with thanks to Chris, is going to begin this month until Chris gets through all 20 plus properties, which she anticipates before the end of May. So that'll be training, education, addressing those new policies, and should be good to go come July 1st for the new fiscal year. So thank you, Chris, for taking that on while I'm out. Second thing, tickets for non-Polar Express V&T train rides went on sale last month. Happy to say season kicks off with Mother's Day, 10th, 11th of May. And we got PR underway, e-newsletters underway. So we're doing a much better job of acting like, I'll say, a small DMO, for lack of a better word, and really trying to have a comprehensive effort with the limited resources that we have, again, having to rely on vendors. But I'm excited to say that those efforts are fully underway as of literally the last week and a half or so on that front. So those are my two updates. Any questions from the board on either of those items? Okay, with that, we'll move on to 10B, the transient occupancy tax actual versus forecast report. That's the big sheet in your packet. Take a look at February. I know we're still waiting on a handful of properties, but at this point, we are pacing for a record month, 1.879 million. Our biggest month was back in 2023 at 1.872. So again, carrying forward really good numbers from January, and I'm excited about where I think February is going to land. And I would also say, if you all recall, we have our winter campaign was out there. The whole idea behind that was helping to drive overnight visitation. So hats off to Lydia and team and KPS3, because I think it's helping.
Yeah, hard to put my finger on, but the demand in the market just keeps getting increasing.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. So you said to take a credit for all of that last month because I forgot to. So now I'm taking credit for everything moving forward.
As you should.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I did revise the March projection upward just in light of February's numbers in terms of looking at the revenue per day and just sort of trending that out for March. And then I did bump up April, May, and June to 5% respectively. So right now, our projection would be just a little over 29.8 million, which is 2.65 million or 9.77% ahead of the budget that we projected just short of a year ago, and then 6.52% increase over actual fiscal 24. So I think we're doing pretty well right now in terms of the projection for fiscal 25. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have on fiscal 25 projections.
Excellent numbers.
All right, thank you, Chair. With that, we'll move on to 10C, the Hotel, Motel, and RV Park Transient Lodging Report. This is the one we had hoped to bring to you in March, but unfortunately, we did not have all of the numbers in to be able to do that. We do now, so we brought this back on the April agenda. And so as a reminder, this is the one where there's a little bit of a lag, right? So ideally, we want to present this report at the end of the quarter following the period that we're talking about. So in this case, October, November, December. And if I'll just hit a couple of highlights, happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to see our ADR and RevPAR numbers. I know you can't see the prior year, but I can tell you that those were up. Not every single number, but in aggregate, they were up, as well as an increase in the room nights occupied. So we've got more people in the rooms, and I'm excited about that because obviously, as Chair Jones knows, there are 3 properties where we had rooms offline as the renovations were taking place at the Federal, at Gold Dust West, and the Courtyard by Marriott as well. So exciting as these rooms come back online now. This spring, early summer, it puts more capacity into the market, which is exciting. And I can say that the owner of the Federal told me that they will wait until November to PIP the second half of the property. So that's great. So that puts some more rooms on the market for us to get through the fall. And, if there are any specific questions on this particular report, I would be happy to address them.
Questions from the board? No?
Okay.
No? Again,
Okay,
just a good story.
Yeah, no, very, very exciting for sure. So, and hats off to our properties in Carson City for, again, holding rates, because I think that's critical, because I know with our surrounding markets that has not been the case. So I'm very pleased that they've been keeping the rates and not sort of getting into that wage rate war business. So hats off to the properties. All right, with that, we'll move on to 10D, Arts and Culture Update. Mr. Brooks, take it away, please.
Good afternoon, Eric Brooks for the record. Tonight, we're going to talk about the new Satellite Gallery exhibition, the second annual Cinco de Mayo, and a quick cultural corridor update. So this is our third rotation of artwork in the new offices. This is a young man based out of Reno. He is one of the most prolific artists that is in the Northern Nevada art scene right now. I'm a big fan of his work. His themes are primarily portraits and flowers, and he works in all sorts of different mediums. There's a picture of him on the page 2, and then a picture of some of his work that we have in the gallery right now. The craziest part about all of this is his pieces, regardless of the size for this exhibition, are $200 each. So we were able to bring in some work that's available to all people. And I think it's a style that's young and fun. And there's a couple pieces that are not in this photo that you'll want to come and take a look at. They're closer to that picture of where he's sitting there. Those are relief forms of portraits made out of scraps of wood. So he scrapped together some human forms and others for the show we have in our space, and that'll be up April through June. And we'll be having his reception on May 23rd, a Friday. And there's a couple more pictures, some really strong figurative work. I tried to get a picture of Chris in here, but she didn't want to come on the TV station.
Good luck.
So we're going to be having the second annual Cinco de Mayo celebration, and we're really excited. Brewery Arts has taken this on with the help of their board to make it bigger and stronger. There's going to be 13 taco trucks and another best taco competition. Last year, Miami Tacos was the winner, so they'll be competing again. The big change is everything's going to be in one campus in one day instead of spreading it out over 3 days in 3 different locations. So that Sunday, everything that's going to be happening will be happening at Brewery Arts Center. So they'll have all the taco trucks out there. A vendor fair right now that has 15 different vendors participating, primarily with functional arts and crafts. We're going to do mariachi music, family-friendly activities and games, face painting. Esco Martinez, who's one of the mural artists we've worked with extensively, he'll be doing live painting again this year. And then a free screening of Encanto in the performance hall. And we have I don't know if you all knew this or not, we've talked about it a couple times. And thank you to Lydia for arranging it. Visit Carson City has a monthly segment on the first Thursdays with Colo 8. And so we were able to go on there and talk. The partner I have there with me is Connie Linares. She's an ex-Art Town board member. She's an advocate for arts and Hispanic culture in general. And she'll be there all day, and she'll be one of our judges. So the cultural corridor is moving forward. Last quarter, we were able to get a visitor profile search analysis for Canada, Mexico, UK, Ireland, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And in the US, our most traveled markets, LA, San Francisco, and Sacramento. So that was done by Herman Global, and they were able to give us a very insightful review. And we'll be able to use that as the baseline moving forward to have a comparison to see how the cultural corridor has helped grow visitation through the cultural traveler. We had a second RFP that resulted in one candidate interview that did not yield an offer. So we're going to move forward. And we have, since we're a month into it, the NRS 332.148, and we're doing more directed targeting approaches to find the proper executive directors. So next quarter, we'll have a big update on that. The Estepona Group conducted a discovery workshop with key members of the Cultural Corridor team to create a new name, and that's something we've been talking about doing since November 6th when I came on, is getting a new name for that. And they've also begun work on the structure of a website. I guess we could tell you what the name is, because we didn't have it when we put this in.
Did you guys finish?
They're fine. They're polishing the new name. Or I guess we can wait till
Let's
next
wait,
month.
just in
Let's wait
case.
till next month.
So we don't put something out there. Yes, if that's okay, Chair.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's some very exciting movement pushing things forward on that front. And having that name, then we'll be able to file for the nonprofit, which will help on a lot of different aspects, getting that board ready to go, having that new executive director in the next month or two. And then the project will really be able to grow and move into some infrastructure of public art between the three cities. So next quarter, we'll finalize all that new branding with the Estepona Group, and they've been amazing to work with. They also work with Travel Nevada, the Department of Museums for the state. So it fits really well with what we're doing and the people that they're already working with. It's all going to be a very, it's going to be a message that's cohesive and will be able to be distributed really well. And again, we'll hopefully have that executive director by our next meeting, and the nonprofit and the website. So yeah, everything's moving forward in a way that was unexpected. We're a little behind on the original timeline, but all in all, it was a very aggressive implementation we were trying to do. So we feel we had a meeting this morning with the other leads, and we're in a very good place as far as that project is moving. Happy to answer any questions.
It's all exciting. You've done good work on that. I know you've been busy with it. It's taken a lot of time, but it's good to see it all coming together and
Yeah.
being finalized. Good job.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Eric? I would echo,
Looking forward to Cinco de Mayo. Should be a fun day building
I
on
think it's
last
going to be
year.
huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Yep. Tapping into Mexican, Latin American culture, I think, is the right thing for us, given population is 25, 27 something percent. So I'm very excited about this aspect of some of the cultural events that we're going to be moving forward. So yeah. No, nice work on 3D. More updates to come. Just to clarify for the board, the contract for the nonprofit executive director will be coming forward to the board just because of the value, right? You all will have to approve that contract. So if it's not May, it'll be the June meeting. It's just going to depend on some timing that we have to follow the NRS on that and get things posted in the newspaper. So it'll just be it'll come down to timing, right, in terms of getting things out ahead of the May meeting if that's possible. Otherwise, for sure, June. But Chris is going to handle all that so it gets done correctly. So, yes. Yeah, I know you were. I got a $10 bill from Andrew to let you do it, so I figured it was well worth it. All right, if there are no other questions for Eric, we'll go ahead and move on to 10E, Events and Sales Update. I'm going to handle this for Mr. Wexler and hopefully do him some justice today. So we'll cover the Jackpot Jamboree Fam, Stetness Pay Dirt race, which is coming up next month, IPW 2025 in Chicago. And then I'm not going to read the IPW update in light of what's happening with the borders and everything else going on. And then we'll conclude with an update on Nagel Tours Limited. So thank you, Lydia. This is pretty exciting. This is a joint venture, I think I'll call it that, between the Reno Tahoe territory and the Las Vegas territory. And I want to give a shout out to Member Reno, because he actually is hosting this entire group at the Nugget. And huge thanks to him for doing this, because it helped us with our budget, not only ours, but also the Las Vegas territories as well. And just as a little rundown of this opportunity, it started out as a mega fam tour. Mr. Art Jimenez at the RSCVA had this brainchild during the strategic planning process, I want to say probably 20 months ago, that we as the Reno Tahoe territory undertook. And everybody bought into this. Our membership, I did a presentation, I think I mentioned to this board, to the actual Las Vegas territory board, probably over a year ago now it's been, and they got all excited about this. And so we are bringing in, I have to update this, I think it's 17 operators from throughout the country, and there are 2 guests that are coming, I think, Andrew, it's 19 people, but I think it's 17 ops with 2 guests. So I just wanted on the record clarify that. For our tour on May 2nd, we will have them from early in the morning until the lunch hour. Mary Bennett is going to be our step-on guide, which is great. So she'll be in full costume as Madame Curie. It's going to be great. And of course, Stu will be on the bus as well. We are going to we'll do the drive-by at the Governor's Mansion, and then we will go right to the Stewart Indian School, Cultural Center and Museum, and we will finish up at the historic Nevada State Prison. So we've kindly, and thanks to our partners, been able to make truncated tours work just because of the time that we had in Carson City. And so I do want to thank the team at Stewart as well as the historic Nevada State Prison for really working with us, to cut down on the tours and make it happen, right? So again, the participants, Carson City, we have Reno, North Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, Carson Valley, Virginia City, Boulder City, Las Vegas, Laughlin, and Mesquite. So it is a full week. It's a pretty cool deal. And we're flying them in with some vouchers, which I don't want to get way off in the weeds on that because I'll probably misspeak. And then, of course, we're providing the transportation. And I want to thank Southwest for being a partner here to get them from Las Vegas to Reno. And so this is a pretty cool kind of a pilot program. And the hope here is if this goes off successfully and is well received by these folks, we'll continue to do this on a yearly basis. Next year, maybe bring an international component into it. We also have had a couple of the rural territories say, hey, what about us? Can we not bus people right between and maybe include the Nevada Silver Trails territory or Pony Express territory? So a little bit more logistics on that. And so I don't know that that's a year two, because I think the international piece, depending on what happens with the world's economy out there and everything that's going on, maybe our better, plan for year two. So any questions on the MegaFam, the Jackpot Jamboree? Okay, thank you, Lydia. So Stetna, May 17th, 2025. Now that we do not have that perceived cap of 500 people for permitting purposes, the goal here is 600 actual riders this year. So I knew that you were going to ask that, and Lydia didn't remember to bring the answer to that question. It was close to 500. Yeah, somewhere between 475 and 499. Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, just because was it 476? Oh, you knew it. He was testing you, Lydia. I was going to say 477, Mike, but yeah. So this will be an increase, and I think that we're going to get this year. So it's just going to depend on snow, right, and where they can go up high at this point, right? And so that's the only thing that I have some concern about is just the snow conditions up there. But we'll provide an update. The race will have happened by our next meeting, so we should have a more accurate count. But excited for this one to come out here, and I know they've got some cool things planned, and forgive me for not knowing all of the particulars out at Fuji, but looking forward to it. Thank you, Lydia. Okay, IPW. So pretty cool. If you see on the screen there, this is literally what our booth will look like. We will be next to Reno Tahoe, so Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority. Huge thanks again to Travel Nevada because they float the boat for the pavilion. We're paying for those 4 chairs and the table, basically. They cover all of the other expenditures, and so happy, to partner with them and to be a part of the Nevada Pavilion. 50 appointments have been requested by Stu, so he's maxed out with his appointments. They close on the 2nd. I know he's got a couple little back and forth things going on. Again, this is the largest, I should have started by saying it's the largest inbound tour operator show in the world. And these are some of the interests that have already come up with some of the people who are reaching out and asking for an appointment with us as Visit Carson City or the City of Carson City. So the history, Wild West, off-road trails, Kit Carson Trail, V&T Railroad, a lot on the outdoor activities, he was saying, the skiing, the hiking, the biking trails, of course our museums, and then there's also interest in the historic Nevada State Prison as well, which is exciting on that front. And then I'd like to also add, Lydia will be joining Stu because, and if you want to jump in, she's going to handle the media side of things, which we only this year really fully became aware of. So
Sure.
yeah.
Yes, they have a media marketplace that is an add-on only to you, someone who's already registered to attend in the pavilion. So it's a unique opportunity for me to be able to go. It's something that we would never be able to afford otherwise, unless Stu was already going, because it's very expensive to attend individually in the media marketplace. So I have 20 appointments that I can take. There's over 600 journalists and influencers and content creators that will attend. And so I have my request out, and we'll have an update for you next meeting I'll be at.
Yeah, no, thank you, Lydia, for jumping in and handling this. The beauty of having Lydia here this year is Stu can focus all of his 50 appointments on tour operators and motor coach operators instead of having to basically bring the media over to the booth and then intersperse those with tour operators. So, well, interesting to see how this works. So, yeah, thank you. So that is my update on IPW. The next slide, we just threw this in, obviously with everything that's happening out there in the world, and, you know, shut this border down, shut that border down. There's been a lot of concern about cancellations and companies deciding not to come to trade shows that are taking place in the US. And I'm happy to say, in terms of pace, they are spot on and consistent with respect to last year. And in the case of the press and media, they're actually up 5% on that end of things. And Buyer, as I said, is just on kind of on par, 1,100 so far. And then they're pacing on the Canadian front. I know there were a lot of questions about Canada, 38 buyers, 54 press. So those numbers are similar. So at this point, there has not been a mass exodus or cancellation of not appointments, but registrations by folks north of the border. And I'll just add, if I may, Keith Lewis, who is the me down at Visit Carson Valley, he just represented Reno Tahoe territory on the Canadian sales mission that Travel Nevada, right, RSCVA and the LVCVA, I think, were the main leads on, and he represented us, Carson Valley and Virginia City. Very well received from what I understand from Keith. I did not see him last week, but he did say it was good for us to have been there, you know, as Reno Tahoe territory, to stay top of mind as a potential destination for Canadian visitors. So anyway, I'm excited, you know, to hear that. It wasn't a lot of negativity or anything like that. So, all right, let's move on to Nagel Tours. This is really great. So this is a result of Stu's efforts at the trade shows, the ABAs, NTAs, IPWs. So we are working, or Stu is working right now, to bring Nagel Tours here September 2026. They're in Reno. The idea is a 3-day excursion to include Carson City, Lake Tahoe, and we'll hit historical sites, museums, and then there's a piece of this puzzle to Virginia City, and then what he's trying to do is have this free day in Carson City as well and build that into the overall tour. And what Stu is really trying to do moving forward after September 2026 is to actually base the tours out of Carson City, because we're so nicely centrally located. It's just 25 minutes, right, to all the other destinations. So I'm hoping that might materialize. Not to take anything away, of course, you know, from Reno or any of the other destinations, but it would be great. And the plan is to see if we can get an overnight tour here and pick up some room nights as a result of Stu's attendance at the different trade shows. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions on behalf of Stu in the events and sales program, if there are any from the board.
Questions for David on events and sales?
All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and move on to 10F, marketing and PR update. Lydia, with always the fun, cool stuff, take it away.
Thank you, Dave. Give me 1 second here so I can pull up my notes. All right, we're business. All right, thank you. Lydia Beck for the record. Let's go through a quick marketing update on the numbers, also our PR. We'll go through some really cool new data that we're getting from Datify. We also have an update on the film and the movie that was shot here last month, and then also Tourism Day that happened at the legislature. So for the month of March, our web visitation is up year over year, and our lodging referrals are up over 10% month over month. So what these wonderful numbers are really telling us is that paid search and digital ads saw significant growth. Our social media performance dipped as expected just due to seasonal transitions, but we have really strong video engagement with a really high completion rate. So overall, a really strong month for the month of March. And obviously some of our stuff is up a little bit given that we just had more days in March than we did over February. We had a great PR month as well. We had a lot of coverage about the movie and the filming of Casa Grande in Carson City. We had a great article from Carson Now and Nevada Appeal. We also got featured in Travel and Leisure, dubbing us one of the 10 best places to retire in the Western United States if you love the outdoors. This also got syndicated on Yahoo Life. We also were followed up with a more broad placement as 50 best places to retire in the U.S. in 2025, also by Travel and Leisure. Colo 8 covered the Brewery Arts Center and Visit Carson City, of course, with some of our Cinco de Mayo and other events. And then the Nevada Magazine had us featured for the waterfall and the hot springs and the Lake Tahoe Loop, as well as the Mint. And the Nevada State Museum also got some coverage for the new geology exhibit that was just opened in a placement from miningconnections.com and also in Mugglehead Magazine in Canada. All right, so website attribution data. So Datafy is actually providing a new free addition to our subscription that is telling us how someone found our website, how someone found and ended up on our website. So think of it like tracing a customer's footsteps. Did they come in from an online ad, from Google search, from a social media post? And Datafy is helping us track that all. So in the Datafy dashboard, we can see things like how many people visited our site after seeing a digital ad, what cities or states they came from, if they clicked an ad, how long they stayed on our site, whether they looked at a hotel listing and planned a trip. So things like that we're now being able to see within Datafy, and we're very excited to see that data. So I wanted to walk you through what this last quarter looked like. And the numbers that you're seeing are based off of a spend per visitor of $185 per trip, which is actually data taken from credit card data spent in Carson City. So it's very accurate, which is scary and amazing. So we're thrilled to see that. And then we took our ADR average of last year of $111.15 to get the data that you're about to see. So we are finding that those that visited our website, so remember, this isn't total trips, this is just people that we know came to our website and came to market. Sacramento, of course, had the lion's share of the impact of trips, but Sacramento is nearly equal with San Francisco when it comes to people who actually stayed in lodging. And you can see here that even in our winter months, which was obviously last quarter, they're still willing to brave the pass and people are still staying the night. So obviously this is likely our ski audience. So keep in mind, again, purely just people who came to our website that we could track and market. And if we compare the lodging to total trips, though we had a lot of day trips from Sacramento, again, it was really nearly equal to San Francisco. And our average length of stay in lodging was 3.4 days, which was really promising to see. As far as demographics go, nearly 51% of our visitors are 22 to 64, and a strong percentage is also 65 and plus age. So, however, our lodging stays are really coming from 45 to 65 and have an income level of $75,000 a year or more, and usually 1 to 2 person per household. But we also have a pretty strong percentage of a 3 to 5 person household as well, really solidifying that we are definitely a family audience as well. It's also not surprising to see that the farther the visitor lives, the longer the length of stay. So Houston tops our list, followed by San Diego, Phoenix, then Las Vegas, LA, and San Francisco from there. What you're seeing on here are the sources in which those people came from onto the website. Granted, we don't have a UTM code attached to every single ad that we have out here. So these are the ones that we are just able to track. So it doesn't mean that only website visitation came from these 5 sources. This is just what we were able to track back. And you can see that our paid social is an incredibly strong driver of traffic to our website. And that is not surprising. I had to actually look up what sail through was, and it's a marketing automation platform that focuses on personalization and delivering tailored customer experiences across multiple channels. So we don't personally use that, but sometimes that can get picked up based off of different placements that we're doing, probably with the platform that we're using to place our digital display ads. So any questions on the attribution website report? It's pretty cool data that we're really excited to have that we didn't have to pay extra for.
Back a couple of pages ago, it had the average time spent on our site like 2 minutes and 3 seconds. How did that compare with the net? It seems like a good number to me.
It is. It is a good number where most people are definitely staying on most pages for under a minute. It just depends on what source they're also coming from, right? So if they are clicking on a blog post that we made as an ad on Facebook, they're probably going to stay a little bit longer because they're looking for that specific information. Whereas you get a display ad, probably half the amount of time they clicked on it by accident and they're just bouncing right off of your page. But I would say 2 minutes per page is definitely someone that is an interested person looking for information that is scanning for the right place to go.
Good. Thanks.
Great question. Thank you, Mike.
Lydia, may I just add one bit of context? So this just launched 12/2, right?
Yes.
So it will take a whole year before we'll be able to actually bring like year over year comparison. So in the upper right hand, when you see the visitation window, this just became available to us with traffic to the website. If you said that, forgive me.
Thank you.
But I just so that I want to meet expectations for the board. We don't have a way yet until we get to 12/2 of this year to be able to compare year over year data. So we're basically, I think it's fair to say, we're building
Yes.
this attribution modeling for this next however many months now, but
Thank
7
you.
months or so, 8 months. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for the board.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. That is great to point out. So we look forward to having a full year of data when we hit December. All right. So an update on the film in Carson City. So last meeting, I mentioned that Casa Grande, which is a feature film that is based off of a 5-episode series on Amazon Prime. And so we are excited that there is an already built up audience for this movie that was strong in Mexico and Latin America. And they filmed all over Northern Nevada, including Carson Valley, Carson City, and Washoe Valley. And the key filming locations that they actually filmed in Carson City were the Bank Saloon, the Griffin Company office space, which is right next door, that gray building, the water treatment plant and the solar fields there, Heidi's Diner, America's Best Value Inn, and also the historic Nevada State Prison. So we saw nearly 1,000 room nights in Carson City alone at the Staybridge for the cast and crew that were there. They were looking specifically for an extended stay so they could have cook. But we do believe that almost all of those should be transient occupancy rooms. They were not here for longer than 28 days at a time. They had a lot of people cycle through. So the impact that this had in Carson City was significant, and we hope to be able to bring more film here, considering that we've changed the permitting and they're really focusing, especially with this legislature, with the film bill going through, that gets passed, there's going to be some really significant changes coming to Northern Nevada for film, and we're very excited about that. We had a lot of local engagement. These people, local talent was hired. They patronized our local businesses, our hotels, our restaurants, and so much more. The future impact of this, of course, is they're calling it set jetting, which is really a new trend that's happening for people that are traveling to places that they see in movies and film and TV shows. And we really hope that this is proof in the pudding that film is an economic driver. So a huge thanks to the city and Hope for facilitating the production for the film production permits, but also helping us coordinate very quickly with the right people at the solar fields and the treatment plant. And so they were just hugely helpful and really responsive. And it was a huge part of being able to solidify locations in Carson City. I think the success of Casa Grande definitely could open doors for future productions. And of course, thank you to Emily Scow-Golden from the Film Northern Nevada Initiative that really helped bring this movie to the region. So some of the photos you hear from behind the scenes at the prison and some special effects. Zach actually did all half of the behind the scenes shots. for and work with the Future Filmmakers Foundation. That is part of the Film Northern Nevada initiative. So that was a really cool project for him. So in the bottom left corner is him teaching some of the students that were on set. The one with the big tanks was made it to look like a dairy farm, because they actually weren't able to film at a dairy farm due to the bird flu. So they had to pivot very quickly. So the water treatment facility plant was incredible. It let them film inside. They're going to make some movie magic happen that I think will be incredible. And then also in the bottom right-hand corner is a cadet of the Carson City Sheriff's that is actually going to be an extra in the movie. That at Heidi's, they needed some extra hands, and they were on set graciously providing a cop car for free to be in the shot. And they said they needed an extra. So he was very excited to volunteer. So it definitely takes all hands on deck. They had lunch actually inside the prison cafeteria. The middle shot is a dummy that I pulled up to behind at work one day being loaded into a van. They actually rented out the space right below us for the production and set building. And then of course outside the water treatment facility and inside too. And so it was a wonderful collaboration with a lot of people, some fun movie magic and Lou Diamond Phillips. And we were actually very lucky that the CEO of Travel Nevada happened to be visiting Carson Valley while they were filming one day. And they were able to go on set and show him the impacts of the amount of people that it takes to pull off a film like this. So it was great.
I just want to add, Lydia did a great job, like pulling all these folks together. I mean, really was a linchpin to this whole production happening, and coordinating with the city and Emily and all these folks, you know, from, I forget what was his name, Ari or Ollie?
Ollie.
With, you know, Warner Brothers and all these other people, fantastic. And so thank you for your work on this, and also thank Zach again for helping with the future filmmakers
filmmakers,
of
yes.
Nevada, and teaching those kids and doing some behind the scenes shots. The beauty of this, I do believe, is Lydia was able to take away literally the process, right, of having a film come here. So now we know the do's, the don'ts, sharing that information back with the city to make which I think we already have probably the most streamlined process in the whole state of Nevada, quite frankly. But how can we make it better, right, and more efficient, you know, where possible? So I think it was I know it was a lot of work, which I'm grateful for. But I think we have some good takeaways and some learnings that we can apply to future film projects or documentaries or whatever the case
Sure.
may be. So
I couldn't agree more. Working with Emily has really been a gift in understanding all that goes into film. I've actually become an advisory board member of the Cordillera International Film Festival, which is in Reno. And I'm joined the subcommittee to help plan the Film Nevada Day tour. So they have lots of studio heads, and Eric was amazing in helping us coordinate that last year. So they are coming back to Carson City, also hoping to go up to Lake to Thunderbird Lodge, and then also back to Virginia City. So we're one of 3 locations happening on that tour, which is really a coveted place to be. So yeah, a lot has come from that very quickly, but it was definitely a gift to be able to see that in action and fully understand what it takes to bring film here. All right, and then on April 1st, we went to the legislature for Tourism Day, and I'm also going to have Eric help me with this because he had an amazing, there we go, sorry, we were frozen for a second, had such a wonderful idea to help showcase arts and culture and bring awareness to arts and culture in Carson City. So we had a booth there. We had lots of people stop by, had some great takeaways, but Pan was a smash hit, and so I'll let him talk about what he did there.
Thank you, Lydia. Eric Brooks for the record. Yes, Pan Pantoja is a interdisciplinary artist. He is a writer, a poet. He's made movies. He's sold a piece for over $1 million that he worked on at Art Basel. The last film that he was in will be coming out soon with, I always forget their names, the Tom Franco, the Franco brothers, you might recognize. What we asked him to do, though, is one of my favorite things that he does. It's interactive. It's their art fortunes. So you can see him in the upper right-hand portion there. And he was nonstop. There was a line for 4 hours waiting to get these done. He ended up running out of paper. So he's done these a lot at different events. Normally, he just puts up a donation box being as where we were, he did them for us. And you sit down and he says, you don't have to tell me anything, but I just want you to think about something. If you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you. And then he writes a poem and draws a picture and then reads you the poem and explains what the picture means for your future. Dozens of people cried afterwards that morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hits the nail on the head and is such
Yes.
an intense experience. People loved it. It was absolutely, we won Tourism Day with having him
Agreed,
there.
agreed.
And I think we didn't see a ton of legislators there, but lots and lots of staff. So definitely worth the effort that was put into it. And of course, all hats go off to Lydia for this one.
It's always a team effort. But yeah, it was a blast, and I think we're so lucky to have Eric with creative ideas, and the people that he knows is always astounding. So it was really fun to do something a little bit different. People were very excited, and I will say that we were in basically the new build out portion of the legislature, the new like out jutted portion that they built. And the view of Carson City from up there is really beautiful. So I'm excited to see the changes that happened there. So thank you to Travel Nevada for putting on such a great day. And thanks for Chris for joining the people on the floor for us in David's absence. And then just some thank yous and other things to note. We just got back from the Rural Roundup Conference in Laughlin, which was really a wonderful conference that Travel Nevada also put on. And then Dave wanted me to mention that we also took home some major hardware for our winter marketing campaign at the Reno American Addy Awards. So we took home 5 awards. That included the Judge's Choice, cross-platform integrated consumer campaign, a cross-platform integrated ad campaign as a whole for consumers, branded content and entertainment for online film, video, and sound, a copywriting award, and the biggest honor of the night, Best of Show. So thank you for everyone who worked on that. It was clearly it resonated, and we hope that this will continue into this winter coming in
It's good
2026.
stuff.
It is good stuff. We're very excited.
Very good stuff. And I know, and that my bonus was dependent upon the number of awards we received. We would have tried harder, I think, right, team? So, yeah.
You got a bonus?
Yeah.
You better
yeah.
be careful with that on public
We can
record,
fix
sir, as your
that.
PR.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just continued employment. I mean, let's not panic or anything like that.
Depending on their success, you're going to be pretty lucky. 'Cause
I know, right? Believe me.
they do a darn good job.
No,
Thank you
yeah,
guys.
no,
We've got a great team.
Yes,
We're
you
lucky.
do.
We're lucky
Well-
to have a great team.
Well received by those Addy folks. So yeah, good stuff. Yep. I just wanted you all to be aware of those awards because I think that's a great reflection on this team and the good work that they did with that winter campaign for sure. So, okay. Any questions for Lydia on the marketing and the PR front? Hearing none, we will go ahead and move on to 10G, future agenda items. Would any of the members like something to be placed on next month's agenda? All right, hearing none. We'll move on to 10H, upcoming meeting. Don't forget now, little change because the budget hearing must take place in the last 10 or 11 or whatever days of May. So the meeting is on May 19th. And then due to a previously scheduled meeting that evening, we have to start at 3:30 p.m. on the 19th. So, yes, yep, so we'll start with the hearing and then we'll move into the root of the regular agenda. But yes, all in one. So May 19th, 3:30 p.m. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Jones.
Thank you, David. We'll move on to item 11, board comments or announcements or requests for information. Anything from the board? No. Move us on to item 12, public comment. Any comment?
Thank you, Chair. I just am so pleased that I was here for this, and I want to say, wow, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Denny French, Carson City, and I'm pleased I was able to be for the reports. Thank you.
One last item, 13. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
We're adjourned.